Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we have something concerning to talk about. A little bit of an accusation thrown at Disney over CinemaCon and the fact that maybe, just maybe, they stacked the audience full of plants and influencers to create fake hype around Avengers Doomsday. Is this part of a successful strategy Disney's working on? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K. Now, you can help with that real quickly by double checking you're still subscribed to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please click the subscribe button. It just takes a second, doesn't cost you anything. Hit the thumbs up button, and then, well, if you have a hype button, hit that too. I would really appreciate your hype. Plus, make sure you make a comment during the course of the video or at the end of the video if you have any reaction to this. Now, this is a good question. Did Disney stack Avengers Doomsday CinemaCon panel with paid influencers to manufacture Marvel momentum? Possibly. Would it surprise you? I don't think it would surprise anybody, especially with the desperation, the mode they're in now. When you include the promotional budget, that is a terrifying number. And if you're Kevin Feige and Disney, you need this thing to at least break even, which would be about 1.5 billion. So you want to create the hype and you want to recreate the 2018s, 2019s, but I think they're gone. And I don't think they're coming back anytime soon. So, from the story, CinemaCon is an annual trade event held in Las Vegas where film studios showcase upcoming films and trailers. They present directly to theater owners, exhibitors, and members of the press in attendance. Disney was predominantly featured at this year's CinemaCon with a trailer for Avengers Doomsday, scheduled for release this December. The presentation drew exceptionally enthusiastic reaction from the audience that was present. Well, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, if you're paying people off, they're going to jump up and down and hoot and holler and be a little crazy. So it would probably appear inauthentic, which some are openly questioning if the Avengers Doomsday trailer reaction was organic or if Disney brought in paid plants. And that includes like important people. The industry-only audience is always the situation there, although there are some people that we know that get in to go, and that would include Film Threat and, of course, Gary from Nerdrotic. Now, unlike public events like Comic-Con, CinemaCon attendance is basically industry professionals. General admission access is usually limited to accredited professionals and exhibitors and invited media guests. So it's possible Disney brought in some people to shout out this disaster. Speaking on his podcast, The Town, host Matt Bellany discussed the Avengers Doomsday CinemaCon panel, referring to the people that were hooting and screaming and asking his fellow panelists whether they believed they were paid plants. That's not probably the best question in the world that Disney want asked. He noted that Disney has denied the allegation, which means somebody else was asking the question, while adding that his sense was that there was clearly influencers there. Again, I ask, would you be surprised? I don't think so. One of Matt Bellany's guests, Amanda Dobbins, agreed, saying there was a core group of people who were given access to CinemaCon who were not there last year and who were very clearly given access because of their particular interests in Doomsday. Interesting. On Monday's night, Versus YouTube show with Chris Score from Film Threat echoed Bellany's impressions. He was seated next to a group of people who hooped and hollered in an over-the-top way during the Disney and Marvel presentations. Gore underscored the point that it felt fake. It felt super fake. Well, of course it did. It was likely fake. They've done this before at other events at D23 and Destination D. This is not some, event that you couldn't stack the deck with. You're going to have a bunch of influencers there anyway trying to get material out as soon as they can to their audiences on the various platforms, especially Instagram and YouTube. Now, I can just say it this way. Inauthentic audiences are pretty easy to spot. I think anybody could do it. Anybody out there could do it, and it is pretty obvious. If the consensus among some attendees and commentators at CinemaCon is that Disney may have used the influencers to amplify reactions during Avengers Doomsday's presentation, if that interpretation is accurate, it raises questions. broader questions about promotional practices in high-stakes film marketing. Well, yeah. I mean, this is the highest stakes poker Disney could play right now. They're in desperate mode to have a recreation of 2018-2019's box office. They want everybody to go and see this movie, and they want them to feel like they'll suffer FOMO if they don't. They want people to be worried about spoilers. And I'm thinking, well, you don't have to worry. Nobody's going to be that interested. And, it is a high stakes release for Disney, as it says here. Avengers Doomsday is widely reported to carry a historically high production budget, which I talked about just a moment ago. And Disney is relying on the film not only to perform financially, but also help invigorate interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's right, trying to get everybody to forget about the MCU, which is a video that Neurotic released recently. And he's right, 100%. He is not wrong. They need people to forget that they went with the B team and the C team and maybe even the Z team in all the recent Marvel films. They even went lower if you consider that they dumped the MCU on Disney minus, which is a big loser. What a big mistake, taking something that's that culturally relevant and relegating it to TV. Some industry observers have expressed skepticism that the publicly released trailers have generated a significant momentum or audience traction so far. And I would agree. I think I've made a video or two. You can find them right up there, I'm sure, talking about the fact that there's no hype for this movie. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. That's bad news for Disney, and it's really bad news for Marvel. Another of Bellamy's guests on The Town, Sean Fennessy, said that he does not really care if some attendees at the Avengers Doomsday panel were paid to be there. Bellamy pushed back, arguing that doing some amounts of gaming the system, it just means it's incumbent upon us to say what we think is really happening. Fennessy replied to that, saying, "This is a trade show. The studios should be doing everything they can to generate excitement for their movies." In other words, AstroTurf is exactly what we've been getting for a long time. And guess what? We've been calling it out here on this channel and on many others, including Film Threat, Nerdrotic, and, well, a lot of us. And look, we can see it. It's inauthentic. It's inorganic, and you can see it as well. When you look at something that genuinely has some hype around it, and you realize that the people that are talking about it enthusiastically from experience, from a point of cultural relevance. And that's something Disney doesn't enjoy these days. It's not like Project Hail Mary, where people were coming out of the theater excited with smiles on their faces, planning their next trip back to the theater to see it again. Again, I've seen the film 4 times. I'm not going to see Doomsday 4 times, are you? Especially not in Infinity Vision, or whatever the heck that is. Anyway, in conclusion, whether or not Disney paid plants in the crowd to cheer for the Avengers Doomsday trailer is likely to remain a matter of debate. However, the discussion highlights a broader point about the scale of Disney's investment in the film and the importance of shaping early perception. After CinemaCon, the film is being widely discussed, and even by those who are not in the room. Except it's not being discussed for a good reason. It's going to be videos like this one questioning the authenticity of the audience that was there and whether or not Disney paid them off. If they did, it just proves our point that there is no momentum for Doomsday, there is no hype for Doomsday, and there's no future or hope for Doomsday. Well, I guess all that nihilism destroyed Marvel. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Is Doomsday going to be a bitter failure? Is it likely that Disney paid a bunch of influencers to hoot and holler during the presentation? Would that surprise you if they did? Let me know that and other thoughts that you have in the comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just probably not watching Avengers Doomsday more than once. And I'll do that so you don't have to.